I'm on national television on the History Channel, and I'm P-spotted. So I've always had two dream jobs, and through YouTube and you all watching, I was able to achieve both. First one was wanting to be Jeremy Clarkson, wanting to have my own Top Gear. So being able to do Car Trek and my TV show Car Issues on Motor Trend to a lesser extent was basically being able to do that, and just an amazing experience with Ed and Freddie. We've done 10 of them, working on the next one, very exciting. But the other one, ever since I was a kid, I have always loved the Barrett-Jackson auctions. Would watch them on TV and the Speed Channel coverage back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And in 2004, I finally begged my dad into taking me down there for my very first collector car auction. And it was a yearly pilgrimage from us starting in 2004 all the way until I graduated college, had a job, a little hard to do, kids and all that stuff, till 10, 11, 12. And then it was sporadic from there. But through YouTube and getting that TV job with Car Issues, and it ended up on the History Channel, I was able to land my other dream job working for Barrett-Jackson, doing their live TV coverage, because Barrett-Jackson was switching networks from Motor Trend to A&E History, FYI. And they knew me from my show and hired me on there for Barrett-Jackson, doing their live TV coverage. Absolutely amazing. But I'd never done live TV before. So my very first time on live TV, it's a fall Scottsdale because of COVID. And we're all having to wear masks. And I'm super nervous. They had me outside to do a live hit on a car. I don't remember what it was, but I had it all memorized in my head. And I'm hyperventilating. And finally, when they come to me, I have a mask on. I take in a deep breath, suck in the mask into my mouth, get like a half breath in, and choke on the mask. And my first thing on live television is coughing and barely getting the words out. So absolutely terrible. I loosened up a little bit, but there was also one point in that first auction where I was in the middle of walking around a car and trying to think of the next thing I was going to say, and just paused. Like this. The camera's on me. I don't know what to do. It felt like an eternity, but maybe 5 seconds. And I got through it, I finished it, and then a tech guy came out to check my microphone to make sure. They thought my microphone had broke, like something had lost signal. Because I'm wearing a mask, they can't tell that I'm not speaking. And I just let them assume that my microphone had broken. I did not tell them that I froze on live television, and just let them know that. So I started out really, really rough, because on YouTube, you're by yourself. Nobody's watching until you publish it. If you screw up, you can say any curse word you want, start over. In YouTube, you can jump cut mid-sentence, as you see in VINwiki, because I can't string a sentence together. I couldn't do that with live television. I had to learn how to speak like Ed does for a minute, 2 minutes. Well, he can go for 30 minutes without pausing. But I had to learn how to do that, and it took years. But I've worked my way up, and now I am on the block. So we're 4 years into this, and they have me doing live TV coverage on the block. Not coming to me every 15 or 20 minutes with a car coming up, but actually every single car that crosses the block on TV. So on a big Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale, that's about 1,000 of the 2,000 cars crossing the block. So I have to think of something that's reasonably intelligent or entertaining to say on every single car. And that gets really hard, because obviously I'm not a specialist in the year-to-year differences on muscle cars or, things from the 50s or whatever. I'm much more into exotics and European hoopties and all that stuff. And so I've had to learn a lot. But where things have gotten a lot easier in recent years with those older cars is the rise of customs. So with customs, every single one of them is different, and it's your job just to point out of what this person did that's different from everybody else, whether it be a color, a certain feature, a certain shaving or chopping of something, as far as the modifications that might be subtle, and then you pick up on it and you show it off. And that's what makes a really cool custom, is doing something that nobody else has done, and that is what sets it apart, say, of the 100 custom Corvettes selling that are crossing the block. Jeff Hayes is the king of this, which now he has custom Corvettes, C2 Corvettes. So he did a 63 and a 67, the most recent Barrett-Jackson. And they each sold for around, I think, $750,000, which even the rarest fuel-y 63 split-window Corvette wouldn't even bring half that. So customs are the kings of the auction block. So that's fun in that sense. And there's been a lot more exotics coming into Barrett-Jackson, because obviously the market has changed a lot to where people are collecting what they feel like are good investments in exotics. As Ed has blown up the Murcielago market with the gated ones, they only made like 10 of these with this. He's trying to do it now with Bugattis, and I've bought in to hopefully ride that wave with him. there's a lot of other exotics in that sense as well being sold at Barrett-Jackson, which is what I know a lot of. So that's where they tap me and my experience and my interest in that to cater towards this new Barrett-Jackson where there's a lot more exotics. The best moment for me since I moved up to the block was interviewing William Shatner. So my love of cars is almost rivaled by my love of Star Trek. So I'm an obsessed Star Trek fan. And Bill Shatner was there selling his Jaguar. It was the second time at Barrett-Jackson. Last time he sold a DB7 and a W12 Phaeton of all things. But this time, just a normal Jaguar F-Type, the stuff, one that they just quit making. And he was sitting up in the VIP lounge waiting for his car to sell. And the producers weren't sure if we were going to be able to get him for an interview, but I did not want to miss this opportunity. I knew about him being there for weeks, so I knew I wanted to get this. So I went up to the VIP lounge moments before we went on air and asked him, hey, would you like to do an interview as we come on air for TV? Right as your Jaguar is coming up. He said, yeah, that'd be great, but I want it to be really high energy. I want it to match what the auctioneers are doing on the block. I'm the right guy for this. We got it, no problem. So he comes down, and I actually get to come on air, open the show with William Shatner, and I'm interviewing him. I'm asking him if he remembers what he drove to the set in Star Trek back in the 60s. He doesn't really remember. He makes a joke, talks about auto racing and all this stuff. But as I'm doing the interview, I know at the end, I am going to do the scene from Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, which is where Spock dies behind the glass. And car guys are watching this and be like, oh my God, he's getting a Star Trek. But in the end, Spock dies and he does the live long and prosper and says, I have been and always shall be your friend. And then he dies. So I do the same thing, except I change it to fan. I have been and always shall be your fan. Live long and prosper. And then I drop dead on the block. And I sit with the microphone holding up, playing dead, not knowing what's going to happen. I didn't tell him I was going to do this beforehand. And Bill Shatner, 93 years old, absolute pro, takes the mic, starts talking, and says, well, as soon as he's revived, I guess he'll get back to the auction coverage, but let's sell a car. And it's like he's doing the show. He's doing my job. And it's such an amazing moment. I got to interview William Shatner. So I'm on the block with three guys that have been doing it for over 20 years. You have Rick DeBrule, who is in the announcer seat, sort of doing the play-by-play most of the time, and that car sold for this, and next up is this, as far as the traffic, and then chimes in with his little nuggets every once in a while. And then there's Mike Joy, the voice of NASCAR. He's been calling all the NASCAR races for Fox for over 20 years. It's just unbelievable that I get to work with this guy. And Steve Bignante, who is just unbelievable encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to cars. He is the brain for all the year-to-year stuff, and it's just crazy all the stuff he knows. But unfortunately, he was stricken with encephalitis. He started a YouTube channel that was doing really well, and it was out in the junkyard looking at junkyard cars and tearing it all apart. And that's probably where he picked up some kind of virus that caused brain swelling, encephalitis, that left him in a coma for months, and he's recovering from it. But that left a hole in our lineup of the announcers until Steve comes back, and so they were looking for somebody to fill in or potentially a replacement, because we really don't know. It's a long recovery from encephalitis. Steve's doing really well, fortunately. He still has all of his car knowledge, but still other things to work on and recover from. So the hunt was on to find a replacement. There was a lot of names floated out there. Ed Bolian was one of them. John Ficarra, another. Elliot Alvis from the Wichita YouTube Car Mafia was another name I floated, but also in that list was Rutledge Wood of Top Gear fame. Lives in Georgia here as well, close to Ed. And he had done some other auction coverage a few years ago, so he had some experience, but also, the guy's done the Olympics, the Kentucky Derby, NASCAR for many years. The Floor is Lava, every kid has watched now. I think that broke new records for game shows on Netflix, so obviously the guy is pretty well known. That's who they ended up going with, was Rutledge Wood, joining us for the 2025 Scottsdale auction. And I was such a big fan of the guy from Top Gear, and of course, so it was a dream to be able to work with him as well. So he started out in the field doing what I used to do, and then he would come in and work the block. So one of us would need a break, then we would sort of cycle out, or when it was getting a little slower, there's some cars that he liked a good run of, he'd come up and join us. And it was great. It sort of changed the dynamic of the auction coverage a little bit, because he's a lot more casual, conversational. It's much more like dudes talking about cars. I really like the vibe that he brought to the block. I brought something else to the block, and my first impression with Rutledge Wood is probably going to be not good, or at least something that he will never forget, because our breaks aren't very long. Keep in mind, 1,000 cars crossing the block, 37 hours of live TV coverage. 5 days, 1,000 cars. And we have commercial breaks, 3-4 minutes at the most to use the restroom, do whatever. We can take a break in a segment whenever we want, but usually we just run back to the restroom. And it's a little bit of a walk, maybe 30-45 seconds just to get back there, and then do your business, and then get back on the block. And towards the end, we were laughing about Waymo cars in the commercial break. They're the driverless vehicles and how they cause traffic jams and all these problems. They're all over Phoenix, Scottsdale. If you haven't been down there, they're in Jaguar-based crossovers. I was laughing about what they were saying as I was using the restroom, and didn't do my normal 3 shakes, and might have peed myself a little bit, and then didn't realize it until I'd gotten up to the block. I want to wash my hands in a hurry and all that stuff. Okay, back up on the block, look down and realize I have a pee spot on my pants. I'm on national television on the History Channel, and I'm pee-spotted. So I'm not going to go out and walk around the cars and point things out and be on camera and all that. So instead, I just stay up where Rick is at the announcer spot and just sort of hug the podium and give these little nuggets as the segment's going on. And Rutledge is looking up at me like, why is he not out here talking to us? Why is he hugging the podium and not moving? And so finally he comes up in the commercial and asks if everything's all right. Do I tell him? Do I not tell him? And I told him. I pointed down at my pants, and I had sort of wet myself. And he started hysterically laughing. So then I run backstage and I unbutton my pants, and they have the hand dryer that's heated and people are walking by. This is not like the public entrance, but it's where all the auctioneers and where all the people working for Barrett-Jackson are going in and out, and some people from the public, like VIPs. And I'm unbuttoned and blowing the air dryer on my pants in front of all of them. And I came back out all nice and dry and finished the Super Saturday coverage without any issues. And Rutledge, is amazing. Such a nice guy, amazing to work with. And he just said, "Hey, I think we've bonded now." That was the bonding moment for us. So hopefully he comes back and does some more, and hopefully I give enough shakes before I zip up my pants next time.
When you get a ticket, it might look something like this, but the first thing that you need to do is take a picture of that ticket and send it to 305-305. That will get the ticket clinic on your case immediately. They've got brick and mortar offices in Georgia, Florida, and California, but they can help you find a ticket no matter where you get it in the United States by helping you find a local attorney that will do everything they can to help you avoid costly fines, insurance premium increases, points on your license, risk of suspension, even jail time. They've helped me out with this ticket and many others, and a lot of my friends as well. So check them out now at the link in the description below, or again, text your ticket to 305-305 to get the ticket clinic on your case. They are the perfect partner in your fight against any speeding ticket.